This episode of Baby, This is Keke Palmer is sponsored by our friends over at Audible. There's more to imagine when you listen. Now, let's start the show.
I feel like there's something in the water just in Jersey, especially in Newark, because of Whitney. Whitney, we love you.
Yes, Whitney, we love you.
We miss you, Whitney.
We miss you so much.
There's one sitting in front of my face right now, everyone, if y'all are watching. She right here.
This reminds me of Beyonce talking about the difference between her and her character in Dreamgirls. I didn't grow up like her.
I will take that because I did not. And everybody's like, and that was a sickening interview, by the way, because it was so
she was
classy.
Like,
it was very demure.
Very demure, very mindful. And that's what you're giving. I'm here for this. So, how you doing, Sharon?
I'm good. How are you? You look good today.
Thank you. I'm pretty good. Comfortable. Face is beat. I want to talk about identity. And I talk about this a lot in my book, Master of Me, coming out November. And honestly, it's not a shameless plug, guys, because I really do cover a lot of the things we've been talking on the podcast in the book. And identity is one of them, especially as a performer. And I feel like I don't know that I feel like it's a curse. I feel like it's more of a gift than anything, because performing so young and getting into these characters, it gave me strength to control my own narrative.
Right.
I do think it's easy when you're performing so young to feel like you are becoming who your characters are, or feeling like you have to become who your characters are, especially when it comes to being popular or brand.
Right.
All the expectations. But then for me, it got to a point where I was like, okay, the same way that I look at my characters, or objective about my characters, show compassion to my characters, I can actually do that with myself.
Right.
And so my ideas of identity, I think, are always constantly changing. Like, I never feel like I have to be one way, or I have one idea. Like, the concept of evolving and changing, to me, I embrace.
Right.
And I'm curious for you, especially as a performer, you started very young as well. How do you view change and evolving and becoming someone new?
Inseparable. We will always be inseparable. Oh, okay, I just want to plug myself. I was plugging myself. You said I was.
You have an album coming out?
Yeah, I should. That was good, wasn't it?
Sharon, that came out of nowhere. I was wondering what the tie-in was.
The tie-in was, you said I was an entertainer, so I wanted people to know. Yeah, I could do a little something,
Yeah, I guess it's better to just show them the singing, because you can't actually show them the acting right now.
That's right.
They can't see you who's listening.
That's right.
True.
So now, what was the question again? Because I kind of just, I got a little triggered when you said you was an entertainer. So then I just wanted to say, okay, yes, I was. But go ahead.
I was asking how you view identity, and how easy it is for you to change your identity. Or do you feel like you kind of always been consistent and like, this is me, this is Sharon. There's no room for anything
You know what?
different.
I would like to think that. I would like to think that I am consistently that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm the same person all the time. But I think we all are sometimes different people in different situations, right?
Absolutely. What I talk about in my book is we're all performing.
Yeah.
So everybody is always playing a different character. Nobody is, this whole idea that you're just one person, you that person all the way through.
Right.
It's not really true.
Right.
You're always choosing how to be perceived in any which moment that you're choosing to be perceived.
That's true.
I think it was a real big journey telling people that, hey, this is what I want to do. This is who I am. I'm not just one thing. And it's been very, very hard throughout my career having to constantly do that. Yeah. Because people don't know what's in your head. And everybody is honestly projecting their fears and their concerns on you.
Absolutely.
All those things was being projected onto me. And I just simply wanted to perform, and I wanted to tell stories. I just wanted to be able to have the freedom to be the kind of artist that I wanted to be, and to be the kind of person I wanted to be. And I think that is a difficulty, being a human being and getting people to understand you. People only understand one couple things at a time a lot of times.
Right.
They can only be able to, on the surface level, they need something to be consistently one way. It's kind of why we have all these labels and all these, we're overly defining things. Because otherwise people are like, well, I don't get it.
Well, I mean, it's really hard for people sometimes to comprehend, she can dance, she can sing, she can host, she writes music, and it's like they don't comprehend that because they themselves don't perfect more than one or two of their gifts. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, is this real or what's going on? That's how I sometimes feel.
I think life is just super binary. And what I mean by that is black, white, up, down, left, right. Genuinely the way that our world runs is it's very two-dimensional. Like everything has to be this or that.
Right.
And I think it's hard to break through that. Like hard to break through the symbolic, you know, as Lacan would say, to the real, to the nuance. Okay, and it's like
Lacan, who's that?
He's a philosopher that L'Oreal actually taught me about.
Oh, yeah.
But he, Jacques Lacan, he spoke a lot about a theory called like the symbolic and the real. And the symbolic, what I guess what in pop culture terms is the matrix. And the real is the nuance in between. Like the matrix are the systems that we think that we have to follow that exist, you know, that are like this or that, black or white, up and down, gay or straight. When actually there's so much nuance in between that you can only really feel or choose to engage in past what you see externally. Right. And I think for me, I've always been that kind of person. You know what I'm saying? And you know, he speaks to why he thinks some people access that or are willing to jump into that. A lot of times it could be, you know, poverty, or it could have been a traumatic event or something that makes you feel outside of what society said you should be. That you then allow yourself to see that you can be the in-between. Right. And so I've always felt like, okay, I have a choice to do something else, to be something different, to do my own thing. And even if it takes people a second to really understand what it is, maybe I can be the difference, or I can be somebody that stands on my own. Right. And I do feel that. Like,
and
you know,
do you feel like you have a need to, you know, to reach out to people, like use your platform to reach out to people that are, you know, underserved, or, you know, people that feel like you feel like, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I do think as an artist, I am very community driven. And I think my community is vast. It's every type of person. Right. You know what I'm saying? Every type of person you could think of, that's what I view as my community, because what the community to me represents is not a look of a person. It's the feel of everything I just said. People that want to have freedom. People that want to be able to try on different coats, try on different hats. People that want to change and go to the beat of their own drum. People that are not defined solely by what society says. Now, if you just want to hurt people and you trying to kill, rob, and steal, get your ass on out. You ain't a part of you know, I'm not here for hurt and pain. Right, you know what I'm saying? That is intentional, right? Like I think a lot of times people try to use a person's individuality as try to hold it by saying it's a harm. I don't believe in that. Right. What I believe in is if you're actually intending to hurt people, no, that's not, I don't really with that. But I do love when people are not afraid to do their own thing. And that to me is what community is.
You know, it's funny when you just cuss, because a lot of people are like, ooh, she cussed in front of you. Well, hell, I cussed in front of her. So there you go.
Dad used to hate that. And then all of a sudden he started cursing.
Yes, more than both of us. Yes,
That's crazy how that happens.
He's funny. He don't cuss. He don't know how to cuss.
No, he'd be like, this some monkey shit.
Yeah. When he cuss, you be like,
it sounds so
all right,
old.
Opie Taylor.
It's so old. He's like, this some monkey shit like that. What's monkey
I'm
shit?
like, you haven't learned how to cuss, but it's okay. Yeah. But it's funny, you know, and then people, oh, you're a progressive mother. No, I respect grown people. You're a grown woman. So do what you want to do. I don't find it disrespectful when you're yourself, if you cuss, whatever like that. I just find it like she's grown. She's an independent thinker. That's really what I set out to raise my kids to be, to think for your damn self.
But you're the same way. You're the same way. And I always talk about this when I think about when I was growing up. And we were talking about
this.
That's
my identity then, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that is a core piece of who you are, outside of however you might change, or the new hair you might, you know, wear, or the new outfit that you might do. Right. Sharon is absolutely 100% an independent thinker. And I think I remember looking back at you in the workforce. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about this yesterday, driving in the car down the street, and you were just talking about the different jobs that people feel forced to do. And obviously some people love them, and some people feel forced to do them. Right. And they're usually defined by a system where you usually have to follow something. There's no ability for you to be a leader within some of these systems in place. Right. But I think about as a kid how you always was quick to be done with something and go to the next thing and have 4 different things that you could do. I remember one day we were in church and you left early and went to another church where you sang and made a couple
of $50. You know
what I mean? Like you would go sing at different churches.
I was hustling.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you would work at the factory job with Dad, then other times you would be a substitute teacher.
But you know something that I realized about the industry that we're in, but also just in life, is that part of your identity is the way you dress, right? It's, you know, people judge you. I remember coming into a room, it was some big, you know, event. And as soon as we got off the elevator, they grabbed you and like, come. You know, it was like rush. And then I was kind of standing in the back of the room, and somebody came to me and said, you have to leave. And I said, no, I don't have to leave. They said, no, you have to leave. This is a private event. And I said, no, I don't have to leave. And they came and some more people came like, ma'am, you have to leave. I said, I just walked in with my daughter. And they were like, oh, that's your daughter? And I kept saying like, damn, I must really be looking bad or something.
No.
But I've just never been that person to buy jewelry, buy a bunch of rings, and pull up in a Rolls Royce because I want to validate my identity.
Well, again,
I never gave a
we're exploring why I feel the way I feel when I said what I said moments ago about the symbolic and the real, and just what you've said is exemplary of that, where at the end of the day, you're not buying into external validations.
No.
That's external validations. And by the way, it's not even just external validations, but it's people trying to not have to fight for their sense of value.
Right.
Which comes from many different things.
Right.
It could come in the eyes of colorism. It could come in the eyes of what you wear. It could come in the eyes of what kind of girlfriend, what kind of boyfriend you have.
Right.
It could come in the eyes of what kind of shoes you wear.
Right.
And people aren't really caring about those things or not liking themselves as they are.
Right.
They're searching for value.
Right.
They're searching for the opportunity to go into the room where people just know they're worth something instead of having to work so hard to prove it.
Right.
And I think those are hard things to come up against.
Right. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for people buying what they want to buy.
And then obviously some people love it.
Yeah,
you know,
people love it. It's an art
Yeah.
for some people to do. My mother would shop at the thrift stores, and then she would go and buy her like an expensive, go to Carson's or Macy's or something and buy a nice pair of shoes. So like her shoes would be expensive, but she got the skirt from the thrift store, and then she was really good at mixing and matching her clothes and her outfits and stuff like that. But I just never. My goal was to wash my ass and to smell good and then just put on what didn't need to be ironed.
Yeah.
And I thought about that, and I thought I have 3 daughters, and I used to think, am I letting them down because I'm not feminine enough? Am I not this girly girl that want to run to get my nails done? And, I've never got my nails done with any of you. You know what I mean? So I used to think that I would say, am I like just too, garage mom or what? I don't know. I used to think about that.
It's funny because
you're like, what? I'm asking you now, did you ever want me to be that super feminine mom?
But it's funny because I think femininity and masculinity are interchangeable. And I feel like, at our house, dad sewed, dad washed, dad cleaned, dad cooked. Right. And those could be seen as feminine traits.
Yes.
But dad also worked in a factory where he had to walk around with, like you said, on concrete all day. Steel-toe shoes. Doing like in them TV shows. He was like, the kids,
goggles.
The kids today wear Carhartt for fun, but dad really had a Carhartt job.
Yes, he did.
Okay, honey. And then I feel the same way. Whereas you would be, I want to do what I want. I'm going to do all attributes, the attitude, the determination, the pushing back on norm, all things that are sometimes given to only men. Men only have the right to be this way. You were also those things while at the same time being very like, where's my Larry wig?
Right.
No. I don't drink. No. I'm very demure, very mindful. You will always go back in between. So like I never felt like you needed to be more or less.
Good.
Same thing with dad, more or less. Now, were you into makeup, nails, and jewelry? No, but you didn't need to be feminine to me.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Good. I think I have a totally different identity of being feminine. That's for sure. I don't think definitely I don't fit into the norms.
No, yeah, sure. But the norm is so unrealistic, girl. I don't fit into the norm either.
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad that you didn't have any regrets that I didn't,
No.
live up to.
I had enough hair and makeup on the sets. I wouldn't have wanted it at home. Well, let me get into this conversation with Michaela Jaé.
Awesome.
I may be grown, but I do love the magic of back to school season. Okay, new beginnings, new stationery, I love it all. Plus, I've always been a sucker for a good old-fashioned collegiate drama every now and then, which is why this month I decided to listen to Donna Tartt's The Secret History on Audible. Yes, for all my dark academia girlies, this one's for you. Okay, it's about a group of co-eds who suddenly, in the middle of the semester, find themselves embroiled in murder and blackmail. The way the author builds the complex atmospheric world at an elite New England college, It's like I can see it all playing out in my mind as I listen. The characters, the mystery, the darkness, and the immersive audio. It's absolutely captivating. And that's the thing about Audible. Listening to stories like this just takes your mind to places it's never been before. Whether it's fiction, nonfiction, self-help, you name it. When you listen, your imagination soars. There's a whole new level of possibility that opens up. As an Audible member, you get to choose one title a month to keep from their whole entire catalog. And let me tell you, their selection is off the charts. So do yourself a favor and try Audible. There's more to imagine when you listen. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/Keke or text KEKE to 500-500. That's audible.com/Keke or text KEKE to 500. Now, if you'll excuse me, I got some more listening to do. Baby, this is Keke. Okay, guys, I am so excited for today's guest. Her journey is just as amazing as her career. She is constantly breaking barriers and continues to be an inspiration for women everywhere. You know her as Bianca Evangelista on the hit FX show Pose. Her new single, I Am, is a certified banger. Please welcome to the show, Michaela Jaé Rodriguez. Hey, girl.
What's up, sis? How you doing?
I'm so good. How are you? How are things going? How's life? You got this new single out. I mean, what's the vibe?
I'm good, Keke. I've never been in a better place in my life. I mean, music is out. I Am is out, which I'm really happy about. Green Lights is out, which was like my main baby. I thought it was going to not do well, and it's doing really well, so I'm thankful. Life is good. Life
I'm
is
not
real good.
surprised that it's doing well. You have an amazing fan base. Obviously, we love you on Pose.
Thank you.
But one thing I want to get into before I get into that is you are from the same town that Whitney Houston is from?
I surely was. Newark, New Jersey, Brick City all day.
You have to tell me, okay, growing up, being from there, what's your favorite Whitney Houston song? What has her impact done for you?
Okay, so my favorite Whitney Houston song of all time is Run to You. Like, I would be singing that in my room all the time. I would make coin off of that song, too.
Come on, performing
from
since
the
young.
computer. Yes. Oh, yeah, it's important, crucial. Yeah. And I would say, like, I think growing up in Newark, New Jersey, like, I feel like there's something in the water just in Jersey, especially in Newark, because of Whitney. Whitney, we love you.
Yes, Whitney, we love you.
We miss you,
Whitney. We miss you so much.
Yes, and that was her, yeah.
So today, I've been talking all about identity, especially for performers.
Yes.
I feel like for me, growing up as an entertainer, in the beginning, I feel like I was learning how to be me through my characters. And then the knowledge that I got from my characters, I used to kind of control my own narrative. It's like I realized, oh, wait a minute. I'm not the actor in my story. I'm the director.
Amen to that, yes.
So I'm curious for you in performing, how it helped you or what you learned of your process as a performer of how to identify yourself and connect to your characters.
I think the most important thing, I mean, I prep a lot. Like, I'm someone, Capricorn and Virgo, you know what it's important. And I'm like always either, I remember at one point in Pose, like I had my first and second script memorized all the way down to the T. Yeah, because I just I wanted to have freedom.
Did you have theater background?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did Rent off-Broadway for a minute.
Wow.
And then I did a whole bunch of workshops after that. Almost got my first opportunity on Broadway. And then Pose came along.
Wow. What was that first opportunity going to be?
Once on This Island with Alex Newell.
Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, when you said that you knew all your lines on the TV show, I'm like, okay, she's not a film TV girl. She came from the real roots.
You understand these things.
Yes, because that's that real skill.
It is.
I mean, thinking of theater, Lin-Manuel.
Yep. Oh, my God,
That was your first viral moment where you sang on Facebook, Satisfied. I mean, how do you feel about do you feel that's partly responsible for how you propelled in this industry?
I do. I think in the time when I was doing Rent, those were like the building blocks. That was for me to like kick down the walls, fight, do the auditioning. I always think of auditions as master classes. I never think of them as just an audition. Like, there are people behind those tables who will see you and will remember you and think of you or consider you the next time around. So when I went into that audition room with Lin-Manuel and I auditioned for that, I knew I was like, and I got to find a call back right from that video, which I did not expect. And mind you, I have been going back to Telsey and Company. I'm sure you know about Telsey and Company.
Yes, of course. I absolutely do. I've auditioned for them times as well. Yes.
You know, I had gone back and forth. And you know the life of auditioning. You get your yeses, you get your nos, you get your finals.
The rejection.
Exactly. Yeah. But that moment, I didn't care about no rejection or nothing. I really felt like they had saw me. Like Beth Knox, shout out to you, wherever you are, Beth Knox. Shout out to Telsey. Like, they were like, okay, no, we need our girl to come in. Yeah.
And I do think that is the power of social media. Like a lot of times we can, talk about how much we hate it or love it. It's a love and hate relationship. But as a performer, it really does help us.
It do.
Especially when people put us in certain boxes. Like I know for me as an entertainer, coming from being just doing children's work and trying to make that jump to being, I'm a grown woman, or I want to do comedy. I use social media for that. I did my sketches. I did my, you know what I mean? So I feel like it does give you the opportunity to kind of evolve what your story is.
You are so right. And I think in this time too, I've just realized, which I should have known for a long time, like social media is our moving, like it's the thing that's pushing us along now, aside from everything else. I mean, we have the option of, still having the studios and stuff, but like it's become such a viral big thing that it's, that's where you promote most of the time.
Yes, I mean, it's so true. And speaking of that, it's also where you can become a voice sometimes without knowing. I mean, you've become a huge voice for women. How does it feel for you? Do you lean into it? I mean, I feel like you lean into it, but
Always.
Does it feel like a lot of pressure?
Yes. I mean, I definitely always lean into it. I mean, I think the best part of me speaking out for all of the young girls and all of the women around the world is that I had a mother. Like I had a strong black ass mama in my life. Excuse my language.
Come on, black ass mama, period. Me
you feel
too.
me? You feel me? Yes. Like, so my mama, she raised me right. We know my mama raised me right.
Yes.
So I was like, I have to show up for the women that were like my mother in the world. And that was the only thing I knew to do after I went into my career. That was the only thing I knew to do. And I knew there were little girls out there, no matter if I was trans or not, that needed an image to be like, this is possible. This is tangible. I can do this as a young black little girl. Like that was my own trajectory. That was the only trajectory. It was no agenda. If it was an agenda, it was love. But like there was no agenda behind it. It was just me lifting people up, lifting anyone, but mostly young girls out there because we don't get. And
I think it's so good what you're saying too, because there's diversity in womanhood.
Yes, it is.
Like I was just talking about earlier with my mom on this conversation because she was like, I don't know if I was ever feminine enough or was I this and that. I'm like, it's a spectrum. You know what I mean? Like you just based off your gender doesn't mean you have to lean in more feminine or more masculine. And by the way, we always go back and forth.
We surely do
every day,
every single day.
So when you think of womanhood, what does it mean to you?
I mean, I think it's just being your true self and living. I mean, I'm a girl who loves the softness, loves femininity. I'm a divine feminine girl.
I wish I could be like that all day.
Listen, girl.
It's hard.
It is hard.
You either have it or you just don't. I'm not necessarily.
But you got it. You got it. I don't know what you talk about.
Girl, no, I'm telling you, I was working with Dolly Parton. And obviously, we all know Dolly Parton. And
Dolly Parton.
The Dolly Parton. Never misses a beat.
Nope.
I look over to her and I say, Dolly, just, I want to be like you. Like, how are you every day so gorgeous? She said, well... When I was young, I thought to myself, that's what I want to be. And so every day I just did it. And I'm like, Dolly, it's not that damn simple.
It's not that easy.
But she's like, but I love that because there's so much fierceness behind that because she said, this is who I wanted to be. I wanted to be that girl that everybody's mouth dropped when I walked through the room. I wanted to have that big hair. I wanted to have that glam on point. I wanted to have them titties.
And listen, and she had them.
And she just committed to that. And that level of commitment, I mean, it's just so amazing. And obviously, you're the same.
I try my best to. I mean, I feel like we have a village around us that we don't know about. I've learned from so many women in my life. I mean, aside from my mother, I love my mother to death, but there are so many women in my life who I've looked to for inspiration. So I think it comes from all of that too.
Yeah.
Like, there's one sitting in front of my face right now, everyone, if y'all are watching. She right here. I'm just saying. Okay.
I love you down. I love
silly.
you down. I mean, so let's get into the critical acclaim real quick. Golden Globe, Emmy nominations. What did that mean to you, especially as a trans woman? I mean, you were breaking barriers.
I'm not gonna lie, Keke. When that happened, I didn't know how to register it because of the sheer existence of me as a trans woman and as a Black trans woman. I did Afro-Latina trans woman. Like I did not know that I was even capable of even getting awards like that. So when they happened, I didn't know how to register that. Like, my Golden Globe is still sitting in the case, girl. I mean, she's on the table now. Like, I got her on the table, but I don't know how to take that girl out because I still am trying to figure out with myself and within myself, like, the deserving. But that's insecurities within myself, right?
And we all have them. I was just at the Webbies not too long ago, and I turned to my best friend. I said, I think that imposter syndrome is finally gone.
Work.
And it's so funny because I think a lot of those things end up being a part of our identity till we decide to shed them. Like that, the humble or the humility to the point that it's humiliation. Where we don't even know, like, can I step outside of that? But you mentioned something in here too that speaks to identity. Afro-Latina.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many layers upon layers of who we are and what we represent. So how did you feel about it in those terms?
I think when it comes to intersectionalities, whether it's culture or race, one, you always have to teeter the line, but more importantly, you have to speak out. And I think the most important thing for me was to speak out about the cultures that I'm a part of. I didn't want to just subject myself to just one specific conversation because I'm a well-rounded girl. We're well-rounded girls, and we have to speak to all of those things. So I thought that was the way. I think that was the way it was easy for me, and it was lucrative for me. It wasn't just something that was just like, oh, I have to do this. It was just I knew. Not that I have to do this. I didn't think to do it because it was something to do. I knew it was innately something that I had to speak about, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, it's something that you represent. That
exactly.
You feel that is an integral part of your identity. And that's why when I was hearing you say it, I was like, oh, we got to talk about that. Because that's something I think people are speaking more and more about today.
Yes.
Especially with the actor, the Afro-Latino male actor that was nominated. That I didn't even know he was Afro-Latino.
Wait, who?
Oh, Domingo.
Oh, Coleman Domingo?
Coleman Domingo. Yeah, I didn't even know.
So just to let you know, I've known Coleman Domingo for a long time and did not know Coleman Domingo was Hispanic.
Okay.
See, that's crazy. Okay, Coleman,
I love you, the original Sammy Sosa.
Respectfully.
Let me stop. Let me get back to what we talked about. So characters, like I was saying, as a performer, there's always this interesting thing where there's part of us that's similar to our characters, and then there's this part of us that's not. Because obviously it's not us, but we have to pick and choose, and then we learn stuff from our character that we maybe want to take with us.
True.
What did you learn from playing Bianca?
I will say, and I was just talking about this on TikTok too.
Ooh.
I would say, I realized that I was so different from her simply because she had such a hard life. She didn't have parents. She didn't have a really sturdy background. She didn't have pillars behind her. Yeah. But she managed to persevere. And those are the things that I take away. I was blessed with a loving mother. I was blessed with a loving father, and then 2 loving step-parents.
This reminds me of Beyonce talking about the difference between her and her character in Dreamgirls. I didn't grow up like her.
You know what? I'll take that. I will take that because I did not. And everybody's like, yes, I do. And that was a sickening interview, by the way, because it was so
she was
classy.
Like, no, she's like,
it was very demure.
Very demure, very mindful. And that's what you're giving. I'm here for this.
She's inspiration.
Yes.
She taught me a lot. I keep her on my shoulder a lot, but she taught me a lot how to persevere through the hard times, how to triumph when you have nothing at all, and also how to be a mother. Actually, I looked at her on the television screen. I was like, oh wow. When you're in the character, you're not registering what you're putting on the screen. You're just there to do the work, make sure you give what you need to give,
and
be
you get
on the
lost
mark.
in it.
I do. We do.
You get lost in it.
Because when I saw you in Nope, girl, I knew you got lost up in that, and I lived. I was like, Keke, better act your
When you're talking about having her on your shoulder and just thinking back on her, it makes me think about this movie where I did called Alice. And I've never been a slave before. That's Black American history. But in this movie, this character, Alice, she had been a slave. And I remember leaving from that movie and just crying in my room because obviously I don't know what that experience is like. I was born free. You know what I mean? Like my parents, and I'm an entertainer, and there's so much, I don't know. I just remember thinking to myself, like, wow, I have to carry that with me, and I have to have the joy that she couldn't have.
That's the thing. It's the weight that I'm sure you can relate to this, leaving those productions, those heavy productions. You're right. You do carry the weight of those characters on you, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's emotional. You have to really strip that character away from you. And as you said, I looked at Blanca's life and I realized how traumatizing her life was compared to mine. And I was just like, oh, girl, you are a strong ass woman. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And by the way, I knew it was Blanca, but the way that they wrote it, it looked like I. So I just kept
forgot
saying
just
Bianca.
that quick too.
Girl, I messed up. Anyway, y'all, don't think I don't know because I did watch the show. So don't fuck with me.
Yeah, okay.
When y'all listen to this, okay?
Please don't, because I'll come for y'all. Okay.
Period. Thank you.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
Braids, faux locks, twists, and knots. Your girl has dabbled with all of them, okay? And the freedom and joy I experience while staying true to myself and my ancestors by rocking my natural hair is unparalleled. I love my kinks and twists and coils, and you should too. Knowing there are Black folks out here still getting discriminated against for how we wear our hair doesn't sit right with me. And our amazing sponsor, Dove, agrees. In 2019, Dove co-founded the Crown Coalition to advocate for the passage of the Crown Act, which prohibits race-based hair discrimination based on hair texture and protective styles in the workplace and in K-12 public schools, and charter schools. Dove supports the Crown movement by driving awareness of the issue of race-based hair discrimination, advocating for the Crown Act petition signatures, and championing a world that respects and celebrates the beauty of Black hair. And not to get y'all all after school special, but with a goal of reaching 1 million signatures, we need y'all to show up and show out. Okay, so join Dove and taking action to help end race-based hair discrimination by signing the Crown Act petition at dove.com/crown. Do you find any touch points in your life, or do you invest in ways to connect with your characters differently?
The touch points in my life, specifically for Pose, I definitely use my mother as like an outline and a blueprint. I really did. I took a lot of the things that she taught me, a lot of the things that she would do, and I would watch her, and I was just like, oh my God, you were everything. Like, I feel like I've gotten everything I wanted. I have to give this to the world so people know what love looks like.
There's something so meta about that. I love that. Anyway,
Thank you. Come on, meta.
I love that.
I love meta, and I know you like Sims too, so we can talk about it. I would say for Loot, Keke, I had to do a lot of digging because I've never went into comedy before. Comedy was very new for me. It was the newest. And I had to really do a lot of research. I had to make sure I recalibrated my brain for this woman because she was someone who was climbing up the ladder. She was someone who was a COO, and I've never been a COO in my life.
Right,
you know
like
what
does that even feel like and
what
look
is
like?
That? Right,
How does that affect how you walk, how you talk?
The positioning, how your posturing, how you even communicate with your co-star. So I had to do a lot of work with that. But Pose, I'm lucky that there were some similarities between my mother and even me to make it a bit easier to play Blanca.
Now, what made you want to be an actor? Did you always want to act, or did you just want to sing at first? Kind of what was your introduction? Which art style were you first introduced to?
Music. Music is and will always be, and I think now more than anything, is and will always be my first passion. Acting came out of musical theater, believe it or not. I was doing Rent. And I saw Rent as a stepping stone. Like, I had just left college. I wasn't even in my first year. Like, I was in my first semester. And I went to Berklee College of Music. I was majoring in song. I had to drop that up in there.
Drop that bomb on there.
I had to drop that up. But I would say it was, when I left, I felt like there was an incompletion. And the only thing I knew to do was to try to, like, reach some kind of height in my career as a musician, and the only stepping stone I knew was musical theater. I had been trained in it when I was a young kid. Acting wasn't a thought in my mind. Like, straight acting was not a thought in my mind.
Yep.
I only wanted to become an artist. So when acting came, I was kind of like thrown off a little bit. I mean, I love acting so much. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it's one of my top passions. But it threw me for a loop when that kind of like took more reign over my singing. It made me feel like, oh my God, well, maybe I'm just not cut out to be a singer. Then maybe I should just, live in this passion of acting and really give people what they want. But not anymore.
I know exactly what you mean because that was my storyline.
Really?
Oh my gosh, I started singing in a church, wanted to pursue music, did like American Juniors, got my golden ticket to California. When I finally moved to California, I got an agent. We started acting because that was, again, the only, I ain't heard about a kid being a professional singer since Michael Jackson, child.
Thank you.
So we was like, whatever we got to do to get me through the door.
We're going to do it, yeah.
And then the acting went off. And then when I started doing music, it just became so difficult. And I don't understand why. And I'm sure you feel the same way, that music is just such an interesting thing.
It is.
It doesn't have the same kind of system as acting. And the way that you have, like, for instance, you could do a million movies. Every movie doesn't have to be number one in the theaters for you to be seen as an actor.
It's true.
With music, there's always these random external validations of being on some billboard or being on this stream that can make you as a performer feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. How did you feel like when you finally found your way back to music and putting out your music? Like, what was the shift for you that said, okay, I don't have to feel like weird. I don't have to feel like just because my acting is doing this, I can't pursue something else.
I think this year, I mean, I had, I've been working on music for about 6 years with some really great people too. They're still in my life. One of them I consider my uncle, and another one is actually, I found out is my cousin through marriage. So I was just like, this is great.
Crazy.
I know, this world is small. Very small. I mean, she's huge, but she's small.
You are too funny.
I'm a key. Ah! So, you see, I'm telling you, this is... Okay, so I feel like it changed for me in this year. I'm a spiritual girl.
Period. Me too.
I believe that, there is a power much greater than us, and we have to honor that.
That's right.
And in my 33rd year, I thought about somebody who was on this earth who left us. And that was Jesus Christ. And I was just like, okay, well, his 33rd year, though we lost him in the most
33rd. Yes. Go ahead. Sorry.
And his 33rd year, it was the most prolific year for him, but it was the most tragic year for him because we lost him. But he changed so much. And I was like, wow, he changed the lives of so many people. And he didn't even cause a ruckus through physical harm or anything. It was just his words. What happens if my music can do that? And I feel like my 33rd year, I'm feeling like I need to do something. I don't know if it's the creator telling me. I don't know if it's just out of the air. I don't know if it's just me, but this is right. And it's now. And it needs to happen. And I've been working on this long enough. And I feel like the people need to hear my story as an artist, need to hear what I've been through, what I want to tell the young girls out there, what they don't need to deal with, what I felt when I was in the beginning of my life imposed and how it's come to now.
Yeah.
And I feel like this was the right time. And I'm in a very mature space where I can let people know that and feel comfortable and confident knowing what my music is going to tell. And also getting out in there and perform. Because Keke, I want to perform with you. I want to perform with Victoria Monet.
You're such an amazing performer. So
Thank you.
Yes, we need to see that with this music. And then also, you dropped the MJ, and we're just going by Michaela Jaé.
Yeah.
Was that totally influenced by you going more into this musical direction?
Yes, it was.
So tell me a little bit about that. How you came to that?
So when I came into the acting world, I was like, let me establish myself as an actress. So I'm going to be MJ Rodriguez. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'll go by my nickname and, I'll be mysterious and I'll let people know, and I was young. I was 25 at the time. So I was like, optimistic, just trying to create things that would be creative.
Yes.
Then I was like, no, I need to be a little bit more authentic. People need to see who I am, see who's behind the MJ. And that's why I let the world know that through my artistry. I was like, well, music is a very, very personal space. People want to know so much about you. Why not let them know what M and J stand for? So, Michaela Jaé.
I know everybody's not a performer, but I just love how artistry allows us to continuously change and evolve our identities.
Yes.
Give us permission to be able to explore these different spaces. You said something else about, who you were in the beginning of Pose and when you were entering the industry from that direction till now. What was the plot then and what's the plot now?
The plot has always been to leave a legacy. And this is not, I'm not a cocky girl at all.
But please,
just remember, I want my name to be etched in the mouths of people all around the world because of the work I've done with uplifting them. That's what I want. When I'm gone, whenever I'm gone, we never know when we're going to leave. But when I do, I want people to always remember me for the work that I've done to uplift them and make them happy. And I think I'm accomplishing some of that now. There's still more work to go because we got work. We young as hell. We got work to do.
That's so true.
But that's what I want. And I hope more than anything, it lasts with this music because that's the main thing I've always wanted.
I'm so happy for you and everything that you have going on. You are absolutely amazing. I am, honey, Michaela Jaé. You're eating it up.
Thank you. I'm trying to. I'm hungry.
I don't want to let you go just yet because, every time on the show, I play a game with my guests. And this one is called, This One Has Some Sweetness to It.
Oh, I like that.
Yes. So basically, it's a game where I ask you questions about your love life.
Okay.
And you open up about it to me and the fans.
Let's do it. I'm down. Let's do it.
And this is hard for Capricorns because you don't like tell nobody else.
We don't. Thank you for me. You know me because it's hard, but it's with you, so I trust.
Yes, I'm going to take care of you. Okay. Are you seeing anybody right now?
I'm not seeing anyone. I'm just kidding. No, I am. I'm seeing someone. We're in a very long-term relationship. It's almost 5 years.
What? Mm-hmm. Girl, you been keeping this on the lowest of keys.
Yeah, I got to keep it on the, low key.
That's how you keep yourself right and tight, though.
But don't worry. We're going to do an arpeggiation. We're going to make sure there's some progression so the key can get higher,
Yes. Okay. What kind of first date do you prefer? Coffee shop? Dinner?
Uh-huh.
These are options. Coffee shop, question mark. Dinner, question mark.
Coffee, dinner. Coffee, dinner.
So we're looking for all day kick it.
Yeah, kick it with me all day. I need to know who you are, sir.
I do love a kick it all day.
Yeah.
I love when it's like, oh, damn. You look over like, damn, we've been together since 8 a.m.
Yeah, and you still talking to me.
Yeah.
Why would your cute self? You want to go to the movies?
Yes, let's keep going. Okay, where is the worst date you've ever been on?
The worst date that I have ever been on was before I had any morals. And this guy said to me, just long story short, Scott told, I told him in the chat that, I was trans, and I said, did you look at my profile? And he's like, yeah. I go and see him, and we set up a great date. It was a fantastic date. It was at Starbucks.
I love coffee. So you do, this is a coffee girl.
Yes, and he said to me, why didn't you tell me? So, I thought what I said was, well, the reason why, I didn't tell you because it was on my page, and, I thought you looked at it. But what came out of my mouth was, well, why didn't you tell me you was going to look like this when you showed up at this date? Like, I didn't expect to come from where I was at to come and look at you like this. How dare you?
Oh, my God.
I could have gotten, knocked out, but I didn't. He just looked at me and left.
I went on a date like that where a dude went from Chris Brown to Jay-Z with just the removal of glasses. I said, now wait a fucking minute.
Yep. And you like...
It can be that quick.
Very quick.
Like what?
Very, very, very transformative.
It's called being catfished.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, what is an immediate red flag to you? This is good.
This is good. What's an immediate red flag?
For me, it's too physical, too quick. And I always look, I'm not trying to, like you said, I'm not trying to be cocky, but these lips
you don't touch those.
To people. They do something. People see these lips and they want to immediately mwah, mwah.
There's some nice lips.
I've been on dates and they're literally trying to suck my lips off, and I'm like,
you like, hold on,
this is dangerous.
And your breath might stink. Yeah, I feel you.
Seriously,
that is definitely a red flag. I would say. It's if your breath stink, I don't know if I'm that's a big red flag.
Especially so early on.
Yeah,
like breath stink in the morning is like we together for a year or two.
Yeah, but when you come in, you gotta brush your teeth, put some Listerine up in there, floss. The tongue.
Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last one. What is the most attractive quality for you in a person?
Tenderness and attentiveness. That is very attractive.
Yes,
and,
that smile gave me life.
Yeah,
you were thinking about somebody.
I was. He right there behind me or whatever.
Yeah.
He here, y'all, in the cut.
I love he's definitely here. My man is here, right there to the right.
My man.
Thank
you to my man.
Well, thank you to you.
No, thank you,
girl. We gotta really kick it.
That's
coffee, like you said, coffee shop dinner. Like you said, coffee dinner.
That's a coffeener.
A coffeener.
Yeah,
a coffeener. That's it. I'll see you there.
Period.
That was so much fun. Isn't Michaela just the best? I mean, to be the first trans woman to ever get a nomination for an Emmy and the first one to win a Golden Globe, I mean, come on. It's hard to do those things. I'm waiting on mine right now. She's such an amazing woman and an inspiration to all women. I can't wait to come back next week and do it all over again because, listeners, it's your girl.
Baby, this is Keke